short of solving fusion, I think in the long run, geothermal energy is the best energy source for the world. It is very low to zero carbon. It is worldwide if you drill deep enough. It is effectively a near limitless energy source. It is renewable if you extract it at the right rate, because the core of the earth is about the same temperature as the surface of the sun. The resource is immense. We just have to work out the technology and prove it for tapping into that. I'm Ken Wisian. I'm Associate Director of the Bureau of Economic Geology here. I run the environmental division. We do seismicity, we do water, minerals, mapping, carbon sequestration, and then my own research, which is geothermal energy. So tapping into the heat deep underground for power, for heating and cooling and other uses. At a very early age, I started reading a lot of science fiction. I went through my local library's complete collection, and that got me interested in just science. Well, how can this be done? More specifically, in geoscience or earth science, my parents were big rock hounds. So when we did summer vacations, typically in the southwestern US, we'd go looking for sites way out in the country where you could find interesting rocks. Things like interesting geodes and agates or fossils. Yeah, I always had competing desires for what to do in life. Science and military. I also, somewhat as an outgrowth of the science fiction, also was always interested in military. So I did my physics degree here in town, went off for flying training. I was a navigator bombardier. I picked up a master's degree in geology at that point. So I had a bachelor's in physics and a master's in geology. And I did that also while I was on active duty, continued on in my military career, went through test pilot school, did a variety of other things. I was looking at, if I stayed in the military, because of the route I'd taken of being behind a desk for the last 10 years of my career. I didn't really want to do that. So I looked at where were there Air National Guard or Air Force Reserve flying units in the same cities as graduate programs I was interested in. Visited Wyoming in June, and it snowed on me. And that's when I decided, well, I'm going back to Texas and SMU. So I did my PhD in geophysics at SMU in geothermal energy, and did that while I was still flying, including going off to the Bosnian War during the summer multiple times. And by the way, finishing that PhD was harder than anything I've ever done anywhere else, including the military. I realized I wasn't going to be as good as I wanted trying to do both things at once. So I went back to full-time, flew in 2 more wars, and didn't really do much in geology beyond looking out the cockpit window and taking pictures, because Iraq and Afghanistan don't have many trees, so the geology is well exposed. When I finally retired from the military as a general in 2015, I started trying to work my way back into the academic world, which wasn't easy. The Bureau was advertising for an associate director. Again, having been out of publishing in science for over a decade, I didn't have the credentials to land a pure researcher position. But having a PhD, being a retired general, I did have the credentials to be an administrator. And the Bureau opened up this associate director position, and they happened to be wanting to restart geothermal research. It was perfect. And now I get to build a geothermal research program here at the Bureau right when things are kicking off, and when Texas is the epicenter of this worldwide revolution in geothermal energy that's ongoing right now. A major part of geology now is planetary geology, finding planets, figuring out what other planets are like, and geothermal factors into that. It's not just the Earth, it's anywhere you want to look. There's good things for geoscientists to be doing. You don't get into geoscience to sit in an office all day. You do it because you like being outdoors. You like touching nature and interacting. And so that's why, plus I'm not a great mathematician, that's why I'm not a particle physicist, I'm a geophysicist. I still want to get out and do stuff. And so the happiest is when you're out in the field doing something. Just run with curiosity, wherever it takes you. It may not be geology or geoscience, but run with curiosity.
Thanks for watching Meet a Geoscientist, a series by the Bureau of Economic Geology. For more information on this topic, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this conversation, like and subscribe to discover more career paths in geoscience.